Shalom, this is Sophia of the AmaruKhan Band of Indians, and I just wanted to share a dream that I had on the night of the solstice, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of changes, but not the kind of changes that people are really expecting. What I, okay, so this is what happened in my dream. In my dream, I was seeing two different storylines play out at once. In one storyline, there was a happy ending, and in one storyline there was a unfavorable ending. So in the story with the unfavorable, now these were the same story. This was the same. I think what happened was we were trying to help somebody get some money or something, treasure hunt style type of thing, full cinematic, like 4K, whatever you call that stuff. Like, I'm not into the movies or anything like that, but the first the first part, the unfavorable part is the one that I saw first, and the favorable part is the one I saw second. So in the first part of the dream, I was like I said, working with this guy and a couple other people, and we were going around looking for something. And so halfway through the whole thing, we had to go these different places. We had to uncover stuff. It was dramatic, but things just kept happening that was bad. But when in the movies, when you spend enough time with a person, you start to fall for them and all of that. And so then I guess me and whoever this main character was, we were talking about like getting together and this and that. And sometime toward the end of that part of the dream, this individual found out some things about me that he didn't like too much. And so he was like, basically like, we can never be together. Once we finish this job, this is over. I'm going back to my life and whatever. And it was very sad. I'm talking about like the whole sad music. It's like where you win the race, like you solve the problem, you save the person, but you lose everything in the process. Like you don't get any fulfillment from it because you've lost everything. Now that was the first part. Now simultaneously there was a second version of this show playing out, but in the second version of the show it was like, they call them romantic comedies, I guess, where there's a laugh track and everybody's having a good time, and it's the same things are happening though, like the same exact things, except for in the second version, the love interest, he doesn't care what these people are talking about, what they said, or whatever the bad thing is they find out about me. He's just like, how romantic comedies are like, oh, this is what makes you so interesting and it makes me love you more. Whatever the case may be, it was kind of like one of those situations. And so at the end of that one, it was like, okay, we're going to be happily ever after, and we sail off into the sunset and all that. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful, happy ending. Now, because these dreams were happening simultaneously, but the first one I remembered was the sort of negative ending, the unfavorable ending. This makes me think this was the timeline that we were on before. We would, not really me, this is some sort of a new experience for me, that things don't just work out perfectly. But for other people, things it would be problems, it would be delays, it would be issues. You'd be trying to make things work and they just don't work and all of that. That's the previous timeline. But the new timeline that we're on is like a fairy tale ending, especially if you're following my daily transmutation reports. One thing I realize is that if y'all been following this channel for a while, I have been saying, we're not on Aquarius, we're going into Leo. Well, the transmutation of Aquarius energy is Leo. So it's not that we're not in Aquarius or whatever. It's just that in order to transmute, to make the most out of this Aquarius energy, you have to use Leo. That's basically how it works. Like there is no, the transmutation is precise. It's very, very precise. And so in order to make the most out of this energy, you would transmute it by getting on the higher timeline by using the strength energy, which is the strength that comes from the inner strength. So this is the problem. One of the major issues that's going on in the spiritual community is that people don't understand that they're telling people to transmute the energy, but the people haven't identified what the actual energy is. So in my dream, the actual energy was unfavorable endings, things going wrong. You know, you're working like you're successful, but it's at a cost. You know what I mean? But in the transmutation timeline, everything worked out great and was perfect. And the thing about these two timelines is that they're happening at the same time. The only thing is, which one do you bring your awareness to? So in my case, in order to recognize that there was a second timeline going on, I first had to recognize what the real energy of the situation was. And that would have been the unfavorable ending. So the only way you can make an unfavorable thing favorable is you first have to acknowledge that it's unfavorable. Then it's much easier to make that thing favorable. But if you don't acknowledge that the thing is unfavorable, how can you possibly make it favorable? Because you don't even know what the energy is of the unfavorable. If we don't know what these quote unquote dark magicians are doing and how they're getting their thing done, how do we actually transmute that energy? See, because when I re-listened to the Magi astrology video, I remembered something I had forgotten. Everybody knew astrology. Not one or two or three people. Everybody. It was common knowledge. Everyone knew astrology. From the common peasant all the way up to the king. They all knew astrology. So this was all common knowledge. They might not have known how to do all of these different whatever magic that people was doing behind the scenes, but they all understood there's a time to reap, there's a time to sow, there's a time to laugh, there's a time to cry, there's a time when the sun is up, and there's a time when the sun is down, there's a time when it's warm, there's a time when it's cold. They knew how the planet operated, and we don't have that basic knowledge, and so it seems foreign for us to understand the way things are in order to transmute the energy, but it's what's required. And so in order to be in tune with the actual energy, you have to recognize the actual energy, but you can't recognize the actual energy if you're not actually trying to get in tune with it. So you can't glaze over the current situation that you're in and just pretend like it's not happening. That's delusional. What you want to do is transmute the energy. And so that's why I'm doing the daily transmutation reports, because I'm talk specifically, this is how you transmute this energy that's coming in right now, that's happening right now. The first few days are kind of rough of the reports, but by the time we get into July, they'll be much better. I'm trying to gather some more information, but I have to get some more funds in order to get access to the information. Like, I want to provide the cosmic weather like I was doing before, but they've now put that behind a paywall. So I need to gather some coins so that I can put that behind a paywall. But this is just like this thing where I've been saying to people, like, even about myself, like, the proof that, the spirit is actually working has to show up in some very concrete ways, meaning I have to see a physical abundance. It's not good enough to just have a general abundance. General abundance can easily be siphoned off by somebody. You need specific abundance into, pentacles, not general abundance, which is cups. Everybody can drink out of a cup, but everybody can't spend your money, your talent. That's supposed to be something only you can do. And so if it doesn't show up in my life as literal physical wealth, stability, and security, then I know that something is still wrong. There's still a huge problem. It's also a matter of timing, which we don't, again, have very much understanding of as a result of, just in general, not knowing astrology like our ancient ancestors did. However, the more you stay in tune with just what's going on in general, the more likely you are to, behave in a way that is in sync with the energy. So even if somebody doesn't know anything about any of this stuff, if they are just following their intuition step by step, they are literally in the energy that is going to help them to be successful. And if we can learn what the energy that we have assigned to us feels like, then it's much easier to see the transmutation in it. So a lot of what they did with the tarot cards, especially in relation to astrology, is that they didn't tell you the actual energy. So like, for example, there's a young lady that I watch who does tarot and astrology. She calls it tarot astrology. But the problem is she have not identified the actual energy of the sign. She just kind of took what people said and didn't do any further investigation or thinking about it, which again, is not a problem. It's just energy. So when she describes like, oh, Gemini energy is swords energy, that's not it. Gemini energy is wands energy. It's like the 8, 9, and 10 of wands. However, in order to make the most of that wands energy, that correction energy, you have to make strategic cuts. And the strategic cuts are to your, Gemini house or whatever the case may be. It depends on what's going on. But you have to make strategic cuts based on what, else is going on in the chart. But most of the time, a lot of the time, people don't know what any of this means. Like, they just kind of, or actually you're going to be dealing with, if it's in Gemini, whatever house your Sagittarius is, whatever is in your Sagittarius house, that's what you'll be making adjustments to, because that's the inverse of the Gemini energy. But what they've done is they've just flipped everything. That's why everything is all out of order. The decans don't make any sense, whatever. They're telling you the inversion of it instead of telling you what the energy is. So it's not like, again, I was running these two dreams simultaneously. The only difference was my energy. I put my energy into the one that had a favorable ending. And the one that had an unfavorable ending, I was very, very sad and hurt by that or whatever. But at the same time, I didn't put my energy into it. I felt the emotions of being sad and being hurt, but I did not put the energy into it because I recognized that, hey, I have this good ending that's an alternative that's equally possible if I put my energy into it. And so I chose to put my energy into that. So that's the point of me actually sharing this dream, is that I'm encouraging you all to put your energy into what you want. Put your energy into the transmutation. And the transmutation literally is the inverse of the energy that you're experiencing. And you know what energy is you are experiencing by looking into your charts. Or you can get your chart done by me. I've made plenty of videos on how to do the charts, how to look at it, the tarot spiral, and everything else. I do have some more videos I'm going to do on like the foundations of the tarot spiral and stuff like that. Look for that coming soon. But in the meantime, I'm doing the daily transmutation reports. Just try to identify the energy that's flowing around right now, wherever it's hitting you in your life, and then take my suggestions on how to transmute it. I mean, this is the only way that we can move forward as a people, is if we learn what the actual energies are. Everything is inverted. It's worse than everything is wrong. It's not that it's wrong. It's that it's inverse. So really the answer is the same answer. Like, okay, another example of this. Some of the energy that has come through with the this full moon, the Capricorn full moon, which I made the video public because I thought it was that important. some of the energy was me finding my philosophical system that I want to work with. And to me, that doesn't mean spiritual. That means like astrological system, right? And so that's where the whole Magi astrology thing comes up, because I was like, man, I was looking into the Magi astrology. What did I say about them? I go onto the website looking for the, the cosmic weather that I used to use in my other reports, and now it's behind a paywall. They don't even have it out on the page. It's like, okay, like what happened? Because a year ago this stuff was available and now they've taken it down. Like, and a sister emailed me asking me for the book. A year ago it was available and now it's no longer available. It's like, okay, what's going on here? But it's kind of like, I found this information out about this Magi astrology 2 years ago. And in 2 years' time, I was not able to join the organization, buy the software, any of the stuff that would have made sense to do 2 years ago when I was investigating them, because I got distracted by all this other information and I was still digging down, and then whatever was attacking me, and then whatever was attached to me, and then all these spiritual marriage contracts and whatever other contracts was going on. Then we fighting Azazel. It's like I never got a chance to get back to it. And so I realized today, oh my gosh, I got this answer almost 2 years ago. And it's just today that I realized I was given the answer 2 years ago. Not kind of, sort of, not somewhere I had to guess. No, they have a website. They have a thing you can buy. They have their software you can buy. It all has a price. I go online, I order it. It's going to get sent to me. It's no problem. It's no issue. I hadn't thought about none of that stuff in 2 years. Except thinking, oh, I should take astrology with this person. I was like, I don't really like the way they do astrology. Then I was like, oh, I should take astrology with that person. And I was like, I like the way they do astrology, but their interpretation of the cards are so off that it's going to require me to like only be able to focus on half of what they're talking about. That's really what my problem is. A lot of people who teach astrology, they teach it in relation to the tarot, and it's totally wrong. And you can't tell these people that they're wrong because they don't want to hear that. So it's like, that would mean I'm starting trouble. I would be creating issues, and I don't want to create issues everywhere that I go. Who wants to create issues every single place that they go? It makes no sense. Even though that's typically what happens, but I'm just exhausted with that. So again, I realized, oh man, I already had this information 2 years ago. And so what I'm finding with this time, even though maybe other people aren't experiencing this way, what I'm finding is that I'm retreading old ground to pick up the information that is useful to me. And a lot of the information, since I've already been operating from this sort of pure position, and already having a heart for the people, is that a lot of the stuff that I put down, I could just pick it back up, dust it off, and keep moving forward. Like, it's almost like this last 2 years was to see if I was going to go back and pick up the information exactly where I left it off. That's just like the books of immediate magic. I still have them. And there's nothing wrong with the book of immediate magic or any of that guy's books. He has some more books, actually, I'm trying to get my hands on, especially the ones in relation to the Psalms. But again, what am I going to go back to that, or am I going to pretend like I didn't learn all that information and all that Hebrew and all that stuff for a reason? I could indeed pretend like I didn't learn it for any good reason, but that would be foolish of me. And so you have just this situation where you're constantly being, now at this time, you're being evaluated for what you can handle going back to. Now remember, that Magi astrology video is what kept me from joining the tribe. And so I have a lot of mixed feelings about that, because I made the video and then like I'm not really even over on Big Judah's channel that much anymore, because I'm moving in a different direction with my spirituality. And there's no, offense to anybody, but I just am. And so it's like, Yeah, but the information was good, even though it created all of these, side quest issues I had to go and solve. It was still good information. It was such good information that it created side quest issues, if you know what I mean. Like, bad information not going to send you into these different side quests that, create trauma. What will happen is, I heard a guy say this, and it's perfectly true. What will happen is, if you're dealing with wickedness will give you exactly what you asked for. They won't edit it, they won't change it, they won't make it the best for your outcome. They give you exactly what you asked for. When you're dealing with the Most High and the positively oriented spirits, they will not give you what you asked for. They will give you exactly what you need. And what you need may not be what you asked for. It's indeed possible that what you need is not what you asked for, because you have to mature into knowing what you need. What you want is immediate. You know exactly what you want immediately. It's like with the astrology. If you just look at your chart, you know exactly where Mars is immediately. But in order to find out how to transmute your Mars, that takes a little more work and a little more investigation. And that's the kind of energy that we're in. So every point in your chart has a transmutation point, like a point and energy to transmute it. So again, I have said many times, the more you dig into your chart, the more you find. The more you find, the more you're able to understand the larger thing that's going on. I implore people, get your chart done. Again, I'm offering this summer to do charts. Send me an email. My website may or may not be working. I don't know what's going on with that, but I know that my emails are. So if you would like a chart done, you can send me an email. I have different levels, it's in my description. The links might not work, but the information is still the same in relation to my charts and stuff. People who got charts from me 2 years ago are doing 1,000 times better than people who didn't. And so I will do some charts this summer, some readings this summer, if people are interested. But don't expect to have access to my information that's going to come out of my head for more than the summer, because once I go into the mystery school, I'm not going to be talking about it publicly. It's going to be impossible, because I'm going to be trying to actually help people who are committed to advancing themselves spiritually. And I have a bunch of kids that I need to attend to. And so I'm not going to be doing this. I have no reason to do readings. I'm not doing readings for money. Like, it's just not about the money. I demand money when I do readings, but I'm not doing it for the money. It's just people right now who have paid for readings and gotten readings they absolutely did not pay for. And every time I come up with a new reading, they got a new reading waiting for them in their box, because that's how I am. I'm not doing this for money. I take the money. That's my requirement in order for, fair day's work. Fair day's pay for a fair day's work, absolutely, but I'm not doing this for money. This is the difference between me and the other content creators out here. I'm actively looking for ways to never have to accept money from anyone ever again. Like, actively. And when that day comes that I don't have to accept money from anyone ever again, it's not that I won't accept money, but I will be moving the exact same way I am now. I will make a general offer. I'll say, oh, the Most High is putting it on me to do readings. I want to do readings now. The Most High has put it on me to do this mystery school. I'm going to be working on that. That's going to take up a lot of my energy. It's a lot of work that's going to go into that. I'm not going to be just like, people who didn't get readings when I first started doing readings. I've been trickling readings through. It takes forever to do a reading. I have to be in the proper energy for that. And I feel like this is the energy that we're going into. I'll be able to do readings again. But this is like the first real push I've been able to do for readings, basically since I started doing them 2 years ago almost. With the Urim and Thummin readings. And these readings are totally different from that, but that I do now. But the point of the matter is, if you have been thinking about getting a reading from me and letting me do my readings the way that I do them, which is I pre-record them, I give you the video, you look at it, we have a conversation about it at some point, and to see if there's any, bits and pieces that are missing, if we need to do some chart corrections or whatever. I work on the readings until they're done, until they're correct and the information makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense and it's not correct, we're going to work until it's done. This is why I can't do this for money, because I have to do it until it's done and it's done correctly. So, but this is just part of the thing of choosing the timeline where, at the end of the day, I solve the problem, but I lose everything. Or at the end of the day, I ride into the sunset happily ever after. I'm going to choose happily ever after. And I want y'all to choose happily ever after too. This is also going to take some people putting down this desire or this understanding they have that, certain people are bad and this and that. And just in general, wanting to see people fail or desiring to see people be unsuccessful. That's not really going to assist you moving forward. You're going to have to put that kind of thinking away and focus on yourself. The major theme right now, literally the way to invert or transmute the Aquarian age is through strength, through inner strength. That is how you transmute the Aquarian age. The people who are working on their inner strength, which is all of these rich people, they're working on their inner strength. They're working on their material strength. They're working on their physical strength. They're working on their mental strength. They're working on understanding themselves. They spend a lot of money to understand themselves. And then they start spending money on, how to destroy everyone else. This is where it goes too far when you get into, okay, now that I understand me, let me destroy all of my competition. No, you can't do that. You can't, I'm done working on myself now. Let me go destroy this guy. He looked at me funny. Like, we have to quit all of that. We don't have time for that. I guarantee you 90% of the people who watch my videos, which I know I'm shadow banned, so I don't know how many people that is, but 90% of the people who watch my videos cannot tell me their sun, moon, and rising. North Node, South Node, Venus, Pluto, Uranus, or Neptune. And if they can't tell me that, they can't tell me the degrees. And if they can't tell me the degrees, they can't tell me the tarotography. They don't know what card is associated with that. Not that I haven't talked about it 1,000 times already so that you could easily go and do it for yourself, because I absolutely have. Now, what I do is also channel, which, everybody is not necessarily a good channel. So I'm not telling people they can do what I can do. I'm just making the point of people haven't even done the basic investigation. Matter of fact, if you know all of that stuff, then how is this, the transits that are actually happening right now, the planets, how's the new moon affecting you? The full moon affecting you? How's the dark moon going to affect you? How are these different transits that's coming up? There's a huge, I think, Mars-Uranus conjunction coming up, just like we had in the summer of 2022 when I just got started. We had a huge conjunction between Mars, Uranus, and the North Node. Now we're having this conjunction between, it's going to be Mars and Uranus, but the North Node is not going to be there. So another one of these conjunctions is coming up. Are you prepared for that? Where is that happening in your chart? And what house is that in? What energy is that? How are you going to transmute that energy? These are the things that if you knew it for yourself, like how to pull the information out, you could see somebody and say, hey, I know what your problem is. It's ... because I've seen it before. I've seen it in myself. And so and additionally, we have to be prepared for happy endings. A lot of people are expecting doom and gloom, or somebody to take them away to somewhere else. You can have a happy ending right here on this planet, in this plane. Are you going to be happy though? Are you going to enjoy it? The only way you can enjoy it is if you actually are happy that it's happening to you. I was very happy that whoever this person was, and I could ride off into the sunset together. I felt joyful from that. But I expect good things to happen to me. I find it very unusual and hard to understand when bad things happen. So, it's so weird. Hold on. This drives me crazy. Much better. So, of course, in my dreams, if bad things start happening to me, I'm questioning what's going on. These are my dreams that are inside of me. Why are they bad? Why are bad things happening? No, only good things are supposed to happen. But that's on the outside too. Should nothing on the outside of me be should nothing should be happening to me on the outside of me that is bad. Only good things. Just like nothing should be happening to me on the inside of me that is bad. Only good things. No bad things should be happening. Because I can be corrected without trauma and without pain and suffering. And I've been saying this for over a year. And I know that a lot of people have not been asking for that. And so I'm imploring you to ask to learn the lessons without pain and suffering. But the first thing you have to be able to do is identify the energy. If you can't identify the energy, you're going to have to be given pain and suffering to learn the lesson, because that's the only way people learn their lessons is through pain and suffering. The only mature people can learn the lesson without pain and suffering, because they are willing to do the first thing, poof, that comes to their mind. If they hear, like a sister called me earlier, she said, I need some of that incense. I'm like, ooh, the oud incense? That's hard to get, but I'll get you some. Just give me some time to figure this out. So literally, why did she do that? Because something came to her mind, man, you need to get you some oud. She was like, all right. She called me up. Hey, I need some oud. Okay, all right, I got you. This is how it works. Only mature people can do that, can get the, or like with my dream, like I haven't posted anything about a dream I had in like probably 6, 7, 8 months, because I know that these people like to use this stuff against me. But at the same time, I knew that my viewers needed to hear that it's going to be some fairy tale endings going on here, some ride into the sunset with your Prince Charming. And if you are not actively working on learning yourself and transmuting the energy from step to step, it could be a disaster. You could end up in an unfavorable ending that's supposed to be favorable, because it's all based on your choices. But you will choose the inverse of what is assigned to you because you don't think that's the right energy. You don't inherently believe that things are going to work out well. I mean, I do. But of course, I actually believe in God. And I believe he's going to say what he's going to do what he said he was going to do. Therefore, I inherently believe things are going to turn out well because that's what he said. And a lot of people, they don't believe that. I understand, not so much over here, but just people in general. They don't believe that the Creator is going to do what the Creator said he was going to do. They don't believe it. And therefore, it doesn't happen. And so, I implore you all to trust in the promises that you were given, number one. Number two, to go back and gather the parts of you that were already shown to you to be true and hold on to those. And number 3, dig into your charts. Not because I'm telling you, but because the only way for you to move forward is to dig into your chart. There's no there's no forward progress unless you dig into your chart. There's no forward progress. There's only backwards. You're only going to descend. You're only going to cry out as the quote unquote savior approaches you. So I think that should be helpful to some people. The happy endings are coming. But happy endings take work too, because in my dream, it was the same amount of work. We still had to go through all the stuff. We had to find the whatever it was we were looking for. We had to get it to the place that had to be on time. Everything was the same as the first part, but in the second part, it was a happy ending. No work was skipped. No step was missed. No scene changed. The only thing that changed was the music in the scenes and the actual ending. Everything else was exactly the same. So it's not like, no, things aren't going to be different. You're still going to have to go down the path. But the difference is in the ending. At the end of the journey, are you going to be satisfied? Or at the end of the journey, are you going to be joyful? Or are you going to be tired and exhausted from all the work? A lot of people are choosing to retire. And someone asked me to look that word up, and I'll probably make a little short video about it. This is going to be my last point. The term retire means to retreat, to draw back, to withdraw to someplace, especially for the sake of privacy. It comes from, it says the sense of leaving one's business or occupation. That's how it was used in 1660s. In the 1540s, it meant withdraw, to lead back. In the 1680s, it meant to remove from active service. So if you're retiring, you're being removed from active service. Active is life. Retiring is not about finishing a job. It's about being removed from your life. And so some of you all will get the happy ending and retire and remove yourself from life. And some people will get the happy ending and enjoy the life. Bring joy to the life. Enliven the life. Not retire the life. So I am humbly requesting that you consider enlivening your life, and living your life, and loving your life, and not retiring from your life, because that's what this planet wants us to do. They want us to retire. They want us to leave the planet, right? I don't want this to be too much longer. But if this planet is our birthright, the entire planet is our birthright, and you leave the planet, you're also forfeiting your birthright. Do you understand that? The people who are not on this physical plane have forfeited their birthright. The beloved martyr that's behind me, you can tell she's a martyr because she has a cross in her hand. She forfeited her birthright because she indeed was martyred for the cross. And so the Most High, Jesus, they're not looking for more martyrs. They're looking for people who want to live. And the people who do not wish to live are going to be removed, because your wish is they commands. So I want people to consider the language that they use. No, it's not time for us to retire. It's time for us to enliven, to enjoy our life, not to retire from life. We want to enjoy our life. And so I just thought that's really important because we did talk about it in the live stream many months ago, maybe 2 years ago almost now, a year and a half. So I hope this has been helpful. I know I talked about a bunch of random stuff, but I wanted to get this message out and all of the little components. We are moving into a time when things are going to be really good, and you're going to want to share that with people, and you should. I am a firm believer that you should share the good times with good people, and share it with bad people too, because they deserve a blessing. Just like somebody blessed us to have certain things in the bad times, they also need a blessing in their bad times. So don't just automatically cross people off because, oh, they're this, oh, they're that. We have to stop all of that. It's so unnecessary. We have way too much life to live to be worried about that. So implore people to enliven your life, to expect the happy endings, and to please learn your chart, your personal chart. Very important. And then you can follow along with what's going on out here. So shalom everyone, peace and blessings, and we'll see you in the next video.